talking about Beyond Borders, turning consumer brands into global powerhouses that dives exactly into this topic. Please join me in welcoming Anant Narayan, who is the founder and CEO of Brand.me, formerly known as Mensa Brands, and my colleague Sumita Karir will be handling this session on stage. So please welcome on stage as the topic of discussion this afternoon is Beyond Borders, turning consumer brands into global powerhouses. Sumita, over to you.
Thanks, Amita. Hi, Anand. I believe you have a flight to catch.
Yes, so thank you for accommodating me a little early.
Right. But I'm looking forward to this conversation that we're going to have. In fact, the guests just before us, they were talking about multilateralism, trading blocks, and of course, disruption all across the globe. So when we think about building brands from India for the world, the current kind of global disruptions that we're seeing, are you looking at them as opportunity, and do they further sort of restrict the expansion of Indian brands into global geographies because of the kind of increasing protectionism that we've seen and the end of globalization, as some would say?
Yeah, so I don't think globalization is going to end. Firstly, by the way, thank you for having me. It's an afternoon session post-lunch, so thank you all for paying attention, and excited to be here. I think there's a 20-year opportunity to build consumer brands from India. We've done it in IT, we've done it in pharma. I think we can do it in consumer brands. Why? Because now you can understand consumers from wherever they are in the world. So consumer data is available, so that's one level playing field. Distribution is more democratic. You don't need a distributor to go distribute. For $3, $4, you can get to India. For 120 rupees, you can get it to most pin codes in India, right? So distribution is democratic. And marketing is very different now because you build on community. So I think there's a big opportunity. Now, I think geopolitics will play a role. I do think India is positioned very well. I mean, yesterday we heard our Honorable Prime Minister speak, and I think there is a big opportunity with the EU, which is already clear. I think there is an opportunity with the US. I think there's certainly a massive opportunity in the Middle East. And I think if Indian founders of consumer brands can start thinking global from day one, why can't we build a large billion-dollar consumer brand or multiple billion-dollar consumer brands from India, which hasn't been done before?
So why haven't Indian entrepreneurs not been able to build a solid consumer brand, even though we are seeing sort of startups venturing abroad? You have the likes of Ola, Urban Company, Zoho, PhonePe, among several other companies which have expanded globally, but not one single consumer brand.
No, so I think, look, I'm an entrepreneur, so I think more positively than journalists. So my belief is...
You have to give us realist
So
answers.
my belief is you can, and I think that's why we've started Brand.me. But why hasn't it happened before? I think it wasn't a very easy level playing field, I would say. If you're big, you can market better. You can appoint a distributor. You basically are able to set up operations. I think those barriers are coming down now. And therefore, I think it's an opportunity. I think that's number one. But number two, I would say it is difficult. I think it's a long, long journey to build global consumer brands. You need to understand consumers in a different geography. You have to package for it. You have to get the feature right for it. But look, we have 3, 4 brands which are now market leaders in the spaces that they play in. They're niche spaces, but I think you can build global brands.
So when you say that it's difficult to build global brands, but in India, we are consuming a whole lot of global brands here.
Yeah.
I mean, America has built fantastic brands. Europe has.
That's right. And I think, therefore, for the next 20 years, why can't we build? And the reason I think, so going back a little bit to my original point, I'll give you an example just to make it more real. One of our brands is called Majestic Pure. Majestic Pure is essential oils, right? We do an aromatherapy and wellness brand. India has always made a lot of essential oils. You know, we have a lot of manufacturing. We actually export it in bulk, but we have never built a brand. The largest brand is, like you rightly pointed out, an American brand called Young Living, which is $1 billion brand with 25% EBITDA. Now, we are able to get to the same product quality, better design, at a much lower cost. And I think the US is also now opening up to a mass premium Indian-made brand. And so we have now built a $50-60 million brand in 2.5 years, which is growing very rapidly and really competing with Majestic Pure, with Young Living, right? So I think it's possible. It's going to take time, but I think if you have ambition and you're disciplined about executing, I think you can get there.
Would you stick your neck out and give a timeline?
Sorry?
Would you stick your neck out and give a timeline?
To get to $1 billion of revenue, I think all of brand.me, which is 10 brands that we have, we hope to get there in about 7-8 years, right? We are a $200 million business now. So I think it's possible. Individual brands, I think, will take between I don't think you can build brands in less than 7 to 10 years. So it is a patient execution game. But I think you can get large dividends by building out great brands because they're very defensible over time.
Absolutely. It's a patient game, and of course, patient capital is something that is also needed. I was talking to a bunch of CEOs. That's essentially the view that they held. But Anant, your company, I mean, you've been the fastest to achieve the unicorn status in 2021. You've acquired 20 companies, consolidated them into 10 companies, all in the space of healthcare, wellness, and lifestyle. And you want to now build an Indian version, India's very own HUL. You want to be the HUL of India, right? But what is your strategy going to be, and what is the timeline that you're looking at for ensuring it?
No, I think, look, I think you described it well. It's a digital version of Unilever that we want to build, or a digital first version of Unilever that we want to build. I think if I look at what are the core skills that are different in this new world, if you look at a classic FMCG company or a classic brand, which is more offline heavy, what matters is where are you placed, right? Which shelf are you placed in? If you look at the new world, what matters is where do you come in the first 4 swipes of your mobile phone? So the growth hacking of how you actually appear on that shelf is very different. And so one thing that we do, and I think do differently, is we are very tech first, and therefore our ability to think about ads, pricing, visibility as technology products across consumer brands so that you appear on shelf, if you will, which is the first 4 swipes, is much better. We pay less for it, and that allows us to grow faster. Second is, if you think about brand building, I don't know when was the last time you basically thought a large actor endorsed a brand and you thought it wasn't an advertisement, right? I think that era has also changed. I think now people want to sort of buy brands that their friends recommend, that the community actually recommends. And that requires having an online reputation and being able to manage that much better, different skill than before. I think these are the 2 new ones. The core of it, however, is getting to develop great products, which I think now you can develop with data much better than you did before. So one example, right? We actually are able to get into the shelf in 3 to 4 months a new brand, right? Or a new ingredient. So when we see a trending ingredient, let's say you see rosemary hair oil trending, right? We see it in TikTok before it goes to Amazon, before it goes to Walmart. So there's a progression. If you pick that up quickly and you're able to get it on the shelf very, very quickly, that's a structural advantage. So data-led product development, community-led marketing, and tech-led growth hacking, I think are the 3 different skills that I think are required for success now. And that's what we're trying to build at brand.me.
Do they, I mean, all the factors that you've mentioned, do they essentially trump what offline brands may face in terms of challenges related to expansion, whether it's related to exports clearance, or perhaps regulatory challenges in other countries?
No, so I think cross-border trade is still cross-border trade. I think those issues, risks still stay. I don't think that changes, right? Because, look, we actually have 50% of our revenue coming from outside India. And some of it from the US, some of it from Europe, some of it from the Middle East. But we actually still have to go through the same issues. One of the things that we have all learned over the last 6-9 months, and the previous speaker was speaking about it, is resilience of the supply chain. So the ability to quickly adapt a supply chain to a changing geopolitical structure and tariff is an important skill. And I think that's needed for all consumer brands, whether it's offline or online.
Let's also talk about the policy support that the government has extended, especially even as we want to become the topmost startup ecosystem across the world. We're currently at number 3 with over 100,000 registered startups with DPIIT. But the government essentially announced a 15% safe harbor rules for data centers. There was also a tax holiday for that. 1 lakh crore in R&D investments, a 10,000 crore fund of funds. Is that sufficient to sort of give that, sort of capital cushion to companies, given the fact that that is one thing that startups and new age brands, which might be doing exceedingly well, but lack of access to enough capital is something that they voiced over and over again?
So, look, I have a contrarian point of view. Okay. I think there is enough capital available for good ideas and good entrepreneurs. I think, in fact, I do think the advice I would have, at the risk of sounding, I think it's important to be capital efficient. and we don't talk enough about capital efficiency. I think most businesses in India that have been built over decades have been incredibly capital efficient. Many startups haven't. I mean, I used to be in Myntra before and, MedLife and so on. So, but I think it is important to actually be capital efficient. So I would say if you have a regulatory framework that's predictable, that you can plan around for 3 to 5 years so that you can design supply chains, I think that's what's required. And then I think, of course, the ease of doing business must get better, which I think the government is working on. I think capital, if you have a great idea, you have a great team, and you have initial traction, there's always capital available.
Well, I'll sort of differ from you on this point, given the fact that many in the deep tech and robotics, that ecosystem, it was very, very difficult for those founders to get capital initially.
No, by the way, that's completely true. I think I was speaking about less capital needing businesses like the ones that we are building. I think for deep tech and anything which is very deep and heavy on R&D, one needs to.
All right, so the buzzer is gone, but I'll just take 30 seconds of more time because I have a rapid fire to do with Anant. Anant, let's get started. One consumer brand that you wish you had built first here in India.
I think pet care.
Okay, one Indian snack you believe deserves worldwide domination.
Dosa.
Whether that qualifies under the snacking category or not, we're not
I don't
sure.
know. I think it does. I'm South Indian, so.
Your guilty pleasure consumer brand that you personally love way too much.
Sorry, say that again.
Your guilty pleasure consumer brand that you love a lot.
Don't know. Something in chocolates. Yeah.
You have to answer that. You have
Don't
to.
have a brand. Don't have a brand.
No,
But
there
anyway.
is no other option, right?
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah.
Okay. The most unexpected place you've discovered a great consumer brand.
I think, look, India, I mean, when we bought 20 brands, like I told you, I met 800 founders.
It can be out of your fold, right?
No, I'm saying it wasn't, there were many brands that we didn't buy. But I think we met a lot of founders. And I think if you look at parts, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns of India, I think people are building some great brands.
Which ones would you be betting
in
on?
Lifestyle, in various categories. But I think people are building some great brands, right? So, yeah.
Do you want to mention some examples?
No.
Okay. Last question. The most unexpected place you've discovered a great consumer brand.
That's what you asked just now.
That was about geography. This is the most unexpected place.
When you say place, what do you mean?
Well, you're open to sort of interpretation.
I like, again, just going back, I think the heads up for tails and what they've actually built. I'm a pet parent, so I think they've done a fantastic job of building up a brand.
Absolutely. And it is these very homegrown brands that are giving tough competition to legacy brands. And Anant, you are also one of them doing that rather successfully. So congratulations to you on that.
Great.
And lovely speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.